Hi, 5th and 6th graders. This video is going to be a drawing video for a more advanced drawing activity than what we've been doing, than just a drawing prompt. It is completely optional at this time, but I highly recommend, especially for my 6th graders, to do this because this is what we would be doing at the beginning of this 4th quarter. And I want you to have these skills or gain these skills because it's something that if you do choose to go into 7th grade art or even 8th grade art or beyond, their skills you're going to use in those particular grade levels as well in the art class. So we are going to be doing straight ahead portrait drawing. Yes, portraits. Drawing the face. Okay. This is going to be a 2-part video. The first part is going to be just drawing and the basic steps and the structure, how to draw the structure of the face, which some of you who were in 5th grade now, as well as 5th grade last year, might remember some of these steps. But I'm going to review over it again, and I want you to really try and use these steps to help you build the face and the structure of the face correctly. I will have attached to somewhere on Google Classroom, I have a sort of like guide sheet that runs through the structure. The last part is doing shading, but I'm going to have a couple of shading activities for you guys and to practice hatching and a little bit of cross hatching. So I want you to hold off on any kind of shading. We are just going to focus on drawing. And I would like you to draw more than one. Because the more you do drawing the face, the more you draw the face and the more you draw people, the better you get at it. You're not going to always be great at drawing the face or people the first time. It's all about practice, okay? It is also really important that you guys stay positive. Don't be so hard on yourself. Don't say those negative words to yourself and about your artwork. You are all, trust me, when I haven't drawn the face or the figure for a long time, I get a little bit rusty. My drawings don't always look as nice as when I'm drawn the face or drawn anything a few times for practice. So keep in mind that the first drawing is probably going to be rough. If it's rough, do another one, okay? The more you do it, the better you get at it, okay? The other thing is you want to have a pencil, because you're mainly going to be drawing in pencil. Make sure you have an eraser. You also want white piece of paper and maybe a couple sheets of white piece of paper. I would like you to draw big, like this size, not these teeny tiny little drawings. I want you to draw big. And also, I want you to draw yourself. So you have a couple choices. You can go and grab a mirror that sits on your table so that you can look directly. That is the best, honestly. I would prefer if you had a mirror because it's best to draw from life. Or you can take a picture like I'm going to do so I can go through the example of yourself. Oh, beautiful, right? And print it out. Make sure it is black and white, okay? I don't want no color right now because the black and white photo actually will help you later on when we do all the value and all the shading techniques, okay? All right, I am going to stop here. When you gather all your materials, I'm going to flip over the camera. I am going to run through these steps fairly quickly. You can pause this video when you need a minute to just sort of go through the steps. But guys, I'm going to tell you, try not to think that this is the perfect, has to be the most beautiful and perfect drawing, okay? It can be rough. It can be imperfect. I want you to work on your speed, not necessarily on how beautiful it is right now, okay? I want you to get through and get comfortable with the structure and all the different techniques I'm going to be giving you rather than this being the most beautiful drawing of your face you've ever seen. You can draw your face over and over again, okay? So I'm going to flip the camera and we're going to get started. All right, guys, I'll see you in a moment. All right, here we go. Okay, if you want, go ahead and make sure you print out the guide sheet. And then you can have that off to the side while you draw. I'm going to slip it underneath because I don't really need it right now. And then your picture of yourself. I apologize. You have to remember this is at home. You know, it's all good. You know, like no judgments here with our photos. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure your paper is portrait position. We are going to do just basic structure. A couple things to remember is you want to try practicing holding the end of your pencil so you have looser and looser lines. You tend to not push down so hard when you are holding from the back of the pencil. For some of you, again, this feels uncomfortable because you haven't made the habit. The more you hold your pencil a little differently and change this habit and form new habits, the more comfortable it gets. If you do hold it this way, it's fine. It's just you tend to be able to do those bigger shapes and more fluid shapes a little easier. Another thing you want to remember, especially because we're going to start with structure, is you want to draw very light. So draw light until you get it right, okay? Because some of those structure lines are going to go away. We're going to erase them. We're not going to leave them. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do, make sure your mirror or your picture is set up so you can see. Actually, I'm going to move it to this side because this is my drawing hand. Okay, is I want you to also draw big, guys. I would like you to use a copy paper that is a full sheet if possible. You get better. It's a little easier to do those details when you're drawing a little bigger. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, we're going to start with the basic shape. Guys, it does not have to be exactly the shape of your face. Just do a basic oval. So we're going to fill this paper. We're mostly going to see the face and a little bit of neck and shoulders. So nice and light. And you can see I tend to keep my finger stiff and use my arm to draw those nice smooth ovals, okay? The oval does not have to be perfect. Guys, this oval is going to change, especially around the chin and jaw area. So please do not worry if your oval doesn't look perfect, okay? Also, I don't want to see this kind of drawing. No, let's get those fluid lines. We want that oval to be one consistent line, okay? So don't be afraid. Remember, you're working in pencil. You can erase if you need to. You can draw over it if you make a little mistake. It's really not a big deal. Okay, guys? All right, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and we're going to draw a little bit of the structure of our face. So the first thing I want to add in is I want to add in a center line. This center guide line is going to help us keep our right and left side of our face even. And I like to go from top to bottom. So from top of the head to the chin, okay? Remember, very light because this is one of those things that's going to be erased. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to start by drawing in our guidelines for our eyes, then our nose, and then our mouth. So the first thing I want you to keep in mind is that our eyes, one of the common errors that students tend to make is they tend to put their eye line up here. This would be considered the brow or forehead if you did that. So please do not put it on your brow, your eyes up on your eyebrows or on your forehead. We actually want to put our eye line right in the middle. So if you notice, I'm doing sort of, this is called I call this visual measurement. I can do a quick little visual measurement, or I can eyeball it and get it kind of close. As long as it's close is fine. You can always adjust the chin and the jaw a little bit to extend it down a little bit, but you want to make a little, maybe a little mark. And then again, remember, keep those fingers stiff and use that arm to draw a line. Remember, keep it nice and light so you can erase. If you mess it up, just do a little dress up. Don't worry about erasing, guys. Honestly, unless I do a really big mess up where it's very obvious and it's going to affect the rest of the drawing drastically, I really don't erase too often. So keep it nice and straight. Try and keep it straight. It does not have to be beautiful and perfect. This is one of those lines that's going to go away at some point, okay, when we're done using it. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put an imaginary line right under the tip of our nose. Now, our nose, if we were to go from the chin to our eye line, it's right in the middle, the bottom of our nose. So we want to divide this in half. On our guide sheet, that's why it says half, and then guess what? We're going to divide in half again for our mouth line. So one thing I like to do is every once in a while, if I don't want to draw a line, I'll just draw a short line to represent the nose, or you can draw a line across. That's all works, okay? All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do my mouth now. Just like I said before, We went from top of the head to bottom of the chin, divided in half. That was our eye. We went from our eye to our chin, divided that in half. That's our nose. And then we're going to go from chin to the nose, dividing it in half. That will be the crease. That's the crease of the mouth. Okay, God made us and structured our face all the same. If you were to do a visual measurement of yourself with what I'm describing here, you'll notice that everything I'm describing is structured the same. Okay, so keep that in mind, that God made us and structured us all the same in this way. Okay, all right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start drawing in our eyes, nose, and mouth. Okay, so remember what I said. I want you to keep in mind to draw light until you get it right. If you mess it up, draw over it before you erase. Okay, fix it first, erase second. All right, so the corner of our eyes, I like to start with the corner of our eyes. Now our eyes, the space between our eyes, and remember we want to keep it even, that's why we have this center line, is going to be an eye length between. Okay, so however wide this space is, that should be the same width as our actual eye. Okay, so if you make it too small, then it's going to look strange. And then if you make your eye bigger than that space, it's going to look strange. It's going to look off. So you want to evenly space about an eye length. And this is where you have to sort of guesstimate a little bit. I like to mark first, and I like to mark the inside crease of my eye and the outside crease of my eye before I draw anything. Because if you notice right here and here, that's huge. There's like little space at the edge. So I'm going to bring that in a little bit. And then this looks pretty good. Also on the sides, it's about an eye length as well. So if you were to measure an eye length, it'd be about the same on the sides as well. Okay, so eye length should be an eye length in between and an eye length on each side. So you want to kind of, you want to pay attention to that when you are trying to figure out where your eye is going to be. So here's the side of my, let's say the side of my face. This is about an eye length, eye length, eye length, eye length, and about an eye length. Okay. When you figure that out, then you want to draw the upper lid. Guys, you want to pay attention to the shape. Okay. Our eyelids have a little bit, each have a different shape to them. My bottom lid is a little lower, especially in this picture. And as it gets closer to the outer edge, it gets a little round. Okay. Some people have thinner eyes and sharper corners. Some people have wider eyes. Okay, each one of our eyes are slightly different. And I'm also going to draw a little bit of the crease. I'm not going to draw it perfectly. I'm not going to close every line because I will leave that up to shading later on. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the bottom lid, which is going to be below the eye line. So very lightly, and I have sort of a rounded eye. So I'm going to draw that nice and soft and light because oftentimes you need to fix your lines. So if you draw them light, they're easier to fix. And then I'm going to do the other side as well. So, and it's very much the same because now our right and left side of our faces are not super exact. Okay. Never is it super exact. Actually, if we were to draw the left and right side of our faces super exact, it actually would look very strange and unnatural. So just keep in mind that if something's a little bit different, that's okay. If you notice the shape is slight on one eye is slightly different than the other eye, that's okay. Draw that. All right, then we're gonna do our pupil. So there's my eye. I'm gonna do the iris, the center of the eye. I'm gonna do the iris first and then the pupil second. Now, if you look at my picture, my iris overlaps my upper lid and the bottom of my iris touches the very edge of my bottom eyelid. Guys, a common error that my 6th graders make whenever we're doing portrait drawing is they'll do something called zombie eye. That is zombie eye, okay? Don't do zombie eye, okay? You do not want to look like the Walking Dead, okay? So make sure that you are drawing circles, and if you need to overlap something, then just draw over it very lightly. So I'm gonna show a little bit of overlapping. By the way, our pupils tend to, if we're looking straight ahead, which means we're looking straight at dead on our face, like straight ahead on our face, our eyes are gonna be centered, okay? And then I'm just gonna do lightly a little bit of where the pupil would sit on my eye, okay? All right, also, I wanna do a little bit of the eyebrow as well, okay? Because we look strange when we don't have eyebrows. So if you notice, each one of our eyebrows are a little bit different. Some eyebrows are straight and low. Some eyebrows are perfectly curved. Some eyebrows kind of dip and curve. So you kind of want to pay attention to that. And often eyebrows kind of are a little past our corners of our eyes and a little past the right edge of so about here and here. So I'm going to use a line to describe, and then a line. And remember, we want to keep it even. Doesn't have to be super exact, but we want to keep it even. Okay, I'm just going to do a just light drawing. I'm not going to worry about too much. Remember, I do not want you worrying about too much detail right now. We will get to that when we get to shading. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of the nose. Now, our nose is made up of 3 shapes. It is made up of 3 circles. So one for the tip, the other maybe an oval for the nostril, oval for the nostril, okay? You could start by drawing a circle for where it represents the tip. I like to start with the curve for the tip of the nose sitting on the nose line. Then I like to do the corner of the nostrils. That means the side edges of the nostrils. So what I'm doing is I'm thinking about the spacing. I'm thinking about how wide the nose is. Now again, the way our noses are structured is the corner of our noses, the nostrils are going to align with the corner of our eyes. So if you put too much space, your noses are going to look very wide, okay? Now, depending on the shape of the nose is how wide it looks or how short it is or how small and petite it is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw the shape of my nostrils. Remember, the basic structure is all the same, but the shape of our features are all a little different. Okay, so there's where my nostrils sit, and you notice it aligns with the corner of my eyes. I'm then going to do a little bit of the inside of my nostrils. Again, I'm not going to get too detailed. I'm just going to represent those inside shapes, and I have a slight dip right there. Do not draw noses like pumpkin noses. This is no, okay? We are not doing triangle noses. We are not doing like, the pumpkins when we carve into a pumpkin with a hole. No, we're not doing that. Do not draw the bridge of the nose right now. We're going to leave it for shading. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is we're going to start working on the mouth. All right. Crease of the mouth is first. The crease is where the opening is. I want you to, when you're doing your picture, you need to have a relaxed face. I should have mentioned that earlier. I apologize. I'll try and throw it in there early on, but you want a relaxed picture of your face. I do not want you smiling or making funny faces because that's harder to draw. You want your face to be relaxed and simple and mouth closed. It's much easier to practice our drawing when we're doing that. Okay, so some creases are straight, like my crease of my mouth. By the way, the corners of my mouth always align, and your corners of your mouth are going to align with your pupils. Okay, like that. So if I were to draw down, actually mine are a little shorter than my pupils. Typically, oftentimes, our pupils or the iris aligns with the corner of the mouth. You want to maybe check, okay, before you draw. And then I'm going to do the crease. Now, some creases are straight. Mine's a pretty straight crease, and we're going to get pretty dark. Okay, some creases do things like this, like they dip and curve at the tip. Some creases are straight. Some are sort of like angled and they dip in and angle again. It depends on your mouth structure. So whatever, whatever your structure is, that's why we're using mirror or picture to help guide us, okay? And then I'm going to do the upper lip. Again, I like to do the dip, this little dip right here first. And then it comes up, and I tend to have very straight sides of my mouth. Okay, that is very common. I've always noticed and drawn that. Okay, some of you might have a more curved, or some of you might have not much of a dip where this dip is. Depends, again, on your mouth structure. By the way, we do not want to draw our mouths like we did in kindergarten, like a little symbol. No, especially you girls. We are drawing realistic mouths. We want to be soft with our pencil lines. We might not want to draw so hard around the shape of our lips. We want to leave some of the detailing for those shadings, for the shadows and shadings. And then I'm going to do the bottom lip. Now, sometimes some people's bottom lips are thicker than the top lip. Some top lips are thicker than the bottom lip. Sometimes both are thicker. Again, you want to look in the mirror and see what yours looks like, okay? All right, so nice and light and soft, okay? The next thing we want to do is we want to restructure the chin and jaw, because right now it kind of looks like me, but it doesn't look exactly like me. So I need to, the shape of our face, the shape of our chin and jaw is one of those indicators, one of those things that makes us look who we are. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make sure I have the space I need for my chin. My chin, if I were to go by this line right here, this curve, is a little on the short side. So remember I said, even if you don't place everything exactly right, guys, we can adjust the shape of the face, and that's what I want you to do right now. So I'm going to bring down my chin right here, and I have it where it dips a little bit inward right here. And then as I come out, my cheeks tend to come out, and then I have a slight dip right here. Now, guys, the structure of my face might be different than the structure of your face, okay? So you want to pay attention to the shape of your jawline and the shape of your chin and the shape of your face. So I tend to have these cheekbones that it dips in a little bit. I tend to have a little bit of a curve here. I've always had that, okay? And then I'm gonna show a little bit more of that detailing. All right, can you notice it's starting to look a little more like me? And I'm also gonna show a little bit of that too, just put that in there. Okay, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and add in my neck. All right, so the key to the neck, here's the deal. Our neck starts at the bottom of our ears. So actually we should probably go ahead, if you can see your ears, we need to add in our ears. So our ears, the bottom of our ears sits on the nose line, and the top of our ears sit under the eye line. So it sits somewhere right about here, okay? I can't see my ear, but I'm gonna pretend it's there, okay? We're gonna do the outer curve, and a lot of times our ears dip. You need to look at your ears to see the shape. We all have different shaped ears, just like the rest of our features. So you have to look and draw what you see. Guys, this is called observation drawing. We've been doing this a lot because this is what great artists know how to do. They know how to see, look at something, and translate it on paper. Okay, our neck tends to start right below our ear, but sometimes we don't see our neck until we get right at our jawline, right at the tips of our jaws. Okay, so mine sits right about here. I can see a little bit here. Sometimes it comes down a little bit like this. I know you can't see that in mine, but and it curves out, and then our shoulders. Now, because of the angle of my camera, it's up higher. So my shoulders, I look a little more hunched. So I'm gonna draw in a little bit of my collar here, and my shoulders probably sit right about here. Now remember, our shoulders are much wider than our head. One of those things that I see a lot of students do, they'll do the head, and then it'll go bloop, bloop, really skinny neck, and then it'll do like box shoulders. No, not box shoulders. We have a muscle right here that leads into the joint of our shoulders, okay, where that shoulder joint is. So that muscle connects to our neck and comes down, okay? So it is a slight slant like this. So we do not have box shoulders, and also our shoulders are much wider. My shoulders are going outside the picture. You do not want to make your shoulders too thin, okay? It's not going to look right. It's going to look strange and not very realistic. All right, guys, I'm going to just add a few more little details that I'm kind of missed. Doesn't quite look like me yet. So there we go, starting to look like me. All right. Last thing I'm going to do after I add in some of these details, maybe you show a little bit of the crease of your arm if it fits, is we're going to do the hair. Now, the way I approach hair is the same for boys and girls. If I have bangs, I'm going to draw in where that bang line is. So if I had bangs, I would draw the edge of the bangs, okay? Because I don't have bangs, when your hair is pulled back, or if you have hair that flips upward, like for you boys, the first thing I'm going to draw in is the hairline, okay? The hairline starts at one side of the ear, curves upward, and comes down a little bit. We don't want it at the very top of the head. We want it to come down a little bit and then comes down to the other side of the ear, okay? So it doesn't stop from here to here. It kind of curves around the head, all right? So mine, I have sort of this, oops, it kind of curves outward like that. And it kind of dips in and comes forward and then dips inward towards the ear. The other one you can't really see because of my hair, okay? So you want to do your hairline first. After you get your hairline drawn in, whatever style, or bang line, bangs, okay? You want to then do the outer shape of the hair. Now for boys, your hair oftentimes comes about to the ear and up and around. Guys, this is a really important shape. Again, it helps show that this is your head. If you just use this circle, this oval that we started with, is not going to look like the shape of your head. So like my hair comes up off of my head or off of this shape. So I'm going to draw this coming up off of my shape and down. And again, I have a part right here. I like to usually go by the part, and I like to move. It's going to come out. And you see how I'm coming out of the shape to make the hair. And it kind of have a little bit of hair kind of come in right in front here. Just like that. Okay. So, yep. Okay, the last thing I want to mention about the hair is the direction and showing the movement in the hair. I don't want you to color or shade. A lot of the direction movement of hair is going to either start from a part and move away from the part, or from the hairline and up and out, or down and around, okay? I'm going to show you a couple examples that I have of hair, just a few examples of some more girl hair where I started with the hairline, the front of the hair, and then the outer shape of the hair, and then a part, and then the direction of the hair. Another girl's hair as well. Again, showing the hairline and how the hair overlaps the forehead, and then the outer shape of the hair, and then the direction the hair moves from the part. And then I've got a couple of one more girl hair. I did the hairline, and then the outer shape, and then the movement of the hair, okay, where the hair moves. All right, boy hair. With boy hair, it's really honestly similar, okay? So I started with the bang line on this one, and then brought down the sides, reshaped the head, and gave it some texture, okay? This one, same thing. This is really short hair, so I focused on a little bit of the hairline, the bang line, which is very short and a little higher around the forehead, the outer shape, and a little bit of texture. Also, direction the hair moves. Another one, bang line, and then the shape of the head, and then the hair moves from the top to the bottom. So it starts about here and moves downward, okay? And this is what I call old Justin Bieber hair. Again, I really just, I maybe drew a little bit of a line describing where this like bang line is, and then reshape the head, okay? And then did the texture and then show where the direction of the hair moves. And if you notice his hair, it's slightly parted on the left side. That's why you're seeing the hair going from the left all the way across, because the way the hair is combed and where a part might be. All right, guys, I hope you do well. Again, remember that if you mess it up, maybe take a couple pictures, draw your portrait a couple times. Practice is key with this. Doing it over and over and over will make your, will bump up your drawing skills, and you'll start to improve on your portrait when you do it more than once. All right. I hope you enjoy the video and it's helpful, and I can't wait to see, especially my art students, I can't wait to see what you come up with. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Bye.